Well, I'm walking in for probably my last set ever on this farm. It's been a fun ride for the last 25 years. You're fixing to get to see some of that action, a little bit of tips to success, and hopefully one last evening for some whitetail success here in Oklahoma. I made it into the tent without scaring anything away. I don't know what that noise was. Don't be alarmed, it wasn't a Bigfoot or anything. I'm out here in this farm that's got a wheat field. Actually, it's rye that I plant, winter rye, in between me and the trees. And I've got trees behind me. It's about 100 yards of a field out here in front of me, and the deer like to come across, go from left to right. Connects a couple patches of brush. As you can see, we've still got a little snow on the ground. Had about 4 to 5 inches of snow a few days ago. The last 2 days it's got up above freezing. I told you I was going to tell you about some tips. Probably my number one tip on getting the youth involved in hunting. Take them somewhere they're going to see plenty of deer. This is one of those spots that I've been able to have success, taking not only my sons, my nieces and nephews, taking extended family members, taking friends throughout the communities who's had a youngster who's wanting to get involved in hunting. Over the last 25 years, we've probably taken close to, I don't know, it could be 50 to 60 deer on this farm, most being does. We've only harvested 4 or 5 bucks. Pretty much all the bucks that we've taken have been mature bucks. Bring a kid out here, we can bring somebody new to hunting. I think the best way to teach a youngster how to shoot properly, we're taking the least experienced out there. We're putting a rifle in their hands that they've shot very little, maybe shot guns very little. So there's a couple ways here. I didn't learn it on my first son. I tried putting him in a 243. Went with a youth rifle. The noise, kids don't like the noise. Even though you have them wear ear protection, the noise and a little bit of recoil gets them all flinching. That can all be overcome, but it's easier to start. Start them out with a 22. Put you a cheap scope on that 22, set up a target 20-25 yards. Let them realize how to get their eye up there where they can see. Let them feel that trigger pull. Let them not hear a big bang. Let them not hear any recoil or feel any recoil on their shoulder. My youngest son has probably taken 35, maybe 40 deer. Probably at least a fourth of them have been some pretty darn good bucks. He's taken a lot of does. But the first rifle he ever shot was right here, about 20 yards from me. It was a 300 Winchester mag. He was 6 years old. By no means would I have let him shoot it if it was going to injure him. But that particular gun's a heavy bull barrel. Everything about it's heavy. We had it sitting there on a bipod. My older sons have used that same gun as they was 8 and 9 years old. Very little kick to it. I'd say it's about like shooting most 25-06 rifles. It's less than a 270 for sure, in that 243 to 25-06 range. I had let him shoot a 22 hundreds of times. He had shot rabbits, he had shot squirrels, he had shot targets. He had shot a crossbow from a bench. I let them get used to pulling the trigger, let them get used to getting their eye up close to the scope, within a few inches where they can see. So they're not nervous, they're not scared, and it makes them a lot more comfortable. Now you're probably thinking, well, they haven't ever shot that gun that you're handing them. You're correct. I hadn't let him shoot it yet because I didn't want to get him gun shy on anything. And whenever you're aiming at a deer, most of the time your adrenaline's going. That young shooter doesn't need anything else to get him amped up. Place that gun in his hands, get him a good rest for the gun, let him squeeze off that trigger. Most of the time while they're out there hunting game, they're not going to hear the gun go off. They're not going to feel a little bit of extra recoil. Between all of my kids, they probably shot 70 to 80 deer total. Carter's probably close to half of that. He never shot a high-powered rifle except at a deer until he was probably 12 years old. The rest of the time it was 22, just plinking. Get those kids out there, let them have some fun, let them enjoy the outdoors. And if you've got a gun that doesn't have any recoil and you've got good ear protection for a kid, I'm not saying that you can't do that, but let them get used to something they're easily comfortable with. Because when that moment comes out here in the wild, you don't want them nervous about that gun kicking. You want them to know they can get their eye up to a scope. And you know, this latest generation of kids, they've pretty much all grown up with scopes. If you've seen my last 4 or 5 hunting videos with guns, they've all been with lever action iron sights. That's pretty much how I was raised. And maybe you've raised your kids shooting iron sights. I'm going to try and quit talking. I'm going to see if the right deer will come along. I can finish out my 2024 season. We are in January the 12th of 2025. Alright, I drilled her. Can't get her found. She went down over there. I've got a nice buck that's up here on the hill. She come in, got downwind of me. I was just barely lucky to get her shot. That buck is now not too far from her. And she is down right in front of him. He's going to go over to her. He hadn't quite made it to her yet. She's laying right there. And he is just a little bit to her, or to my left of her. Well, he decided to go back in the trees, and there's still one doe running around over there right beside her. This farm had a lot of sentimental value to me. I've killed a good buck out here. Each one of my sons have all taken nice bucks. Lots of does for all of us. And I've been able to introduce many other people to the hunting world right here on this farm. I hate to speak poorly of someone, but a man with 3 or 4 times the land that I've got has decided he needed to raise my rent on this property, so I'll feed my cows out here for the next 7 months or so. If I don't find a home for them, they will all be sold. I guess on the good news, that'll give me more time to hunt. I'll just have less land to hunt the way it is. I'm gonna go take a look at her. I got her right behind the shoulder. Now see that buck, he's back out here again. But I'll get some close-ups on her. That's gonna fill my tags for the 2024 calendar year. I appreciate y'all watching. The channel has really grown well, and I couldn't have done it without y'all's support. I think she was running right through here. Yeah, there we go. The difference in blood. Not seeing any in the dirt, and all of a sudden here we are in the snow. It's plumb easy to follow in the snow. Right there, center of the body, height wise, and right behind the shoulder. It's a 80-yard or so run that she did over here. Thank you, Lord. More meat for the freezer. Thanks again for watching. I'm already looking forward to 2025. We've got several bucks that made it, and other than this place, I ought to have all my other places back. Love those out-of-state trips too. I went to Alabama this year, brought home some more meat, visited some good friends along the way.